Continuing with the accessory structure of the digestive system. So the next structure of the accessory structures is the liver. The liver is a large organ under the diaphragm on the right side of the body. It produces digestive enzymes. It also removes toxins from the blood and directs them into the duodenum of the small intestine. Attached to the liver is a pouch called gallbladder. This is where the secretions of the liver are stored before they're secreted into the small intestine, duodenum. And the last organ is the pancreas. Pancreas is a digestive gland that produces digestive enzymes and secretes them into the duodenum. The next topic is the notes about the layers of the GI tract. The layers of the GI tract, we're going to use an example, the small intestine. So if you take a small intestine, it is like a tube. Okay, and the inside of it is where the food is digested. The inside is called the lumen. That's the space inside the digestive tract. So inside of the esophagus, inside of the stomach, inside of the intestines, all of that space is called the lumen. So if we start from the lumen, that's the deepest portion of the intestine, the layer that lines the lumen is called mucosa. Okay, so this is going to be deep base layer to the superficial, so moving closer to the surface. This is what the walls of the GI tract are made out of. So the first layer is called mucosa. Mucosa is made out of epithelium. Next is a layer of connective tissue called lamina propria. And the last layer of mucosa, more superficial, is muscularis mucosa. Lamina propria contains some lymphatic tissue. And the epithelium of the mucosa has pores and ducts of the underlying glands. The next layer of the GI tract, so more superficial to mucosa, is called submucosa. That means under mucosa. Now, this layer is made out of connective tissue, and it contains the glands that have their ducts open into the lumen of the GI tract. So it contains the submucosal glands. These glands produce stuff like mucus that moisturizes and coats and protects the walls of the lumen. The next layer of the GI tract, superficial to submucosa, is called muscularis. This layer is made out of smooth muscle. And of course, muscle needs nutrients in order to function. So this layer has lots of the blood vessels and also the nerves that stimulate this muscle and cause its contractions. The muscularis is made out of two layers of muscle. The deepest muscle that goes kind of like around the circle is called the circular muscle. And then the second layer of the muscle of the muscularis is the muscle that travels along the length of the GI tract structures, and this muscle is called the longitudinal muscle. Okay, and the nerves that innervate the muscularis, they are called the myenteric plexus. I also forgot to mention that there's nerves in the submucosa level, the layer, and glands, and then these nerves are called the submucosal plexus. So the nerves of submucosa, the submucosal plexus, stimulate the glands of submucosa to produce their secretions, and the nerves of the muscularis, the myenteric plexus, stimulate the muscle of the muscularis to produce contraction, and that contraction of the smooth muscle produces the peristalsis, like the wave-like movement of the intestine that propels the contents inside the lumen forward. Okay, and then the last layer of the GI tract, that's the most superficial one above the muscularis, that is called serosa. So that's going to be the layer visible if you look at the intestine without cutting it from the outside. The two layers of serosa are areolar connective tissue, that is deeper, and the most superficial layer is the epithelium.